Hello students, in today's video we are going to discuss a very important aspect of this module, that is conditions for amalgamation in the nature of merger. In the previous classes we have studied what is amalgamation, and initially while we were discussing our syllabus we have seen that amalgamation happens under two methods. One is merger method and another one is purchase method. So how do we identify whether the amalgamation is in the nature of merger or whether the amalgamation is in nature of purchase? For that we have certain conditions, so we have to understand, remember by heart or memorize these conditions so that we can arrive at a proper conclusion as to whether the amalgamation is in the nature of merger or purchase. So here we have 5 conditions which if fulfilled by the companies, then it will be called as amalgamation in the nature of merger. And if any of these conditions is not satisfied, then it will be termed as amalgamation in the nature of purchase. So let us now understand what are these 5 conditions for amalgamation to be in the nature of merger. First one, all the assets and liabilities of the transferor company becomes the assets and liabilities of transferee company after amalgamation. Now look at these terms, all the assets and liability. So here the word all is important. It implies that all the assets and liabilities, you cannot leave some assets or liabilities. You have to take up all the assets and liabilities of the selling company after amalgamation. Then it will be amalgamation in the nature of merger. So the condition says that you have to acquire all the assets as well as liability. You cannot say that I want to take assets or I will not take liabilities. No, you have to take up all the assets and liabilities. Okay, so that is the first condition for amalgamation in the nature of merger. Now second, not less than 90% of equity shareholder agree to become the shareholders of transferee company. So when the business is being acquired, you know the actual owners of every company are the shareholders. So when you are acquiring some other company, so in that case more than 90% of the shareholders of that selling company, transferor company, they should become the shareholders of your company. Suppose if the selling company B Limited is having 100 shareholders, if it is having 100 shareholders, so if the amalgamation has to be in the nature of merger, then more than 90 shareholders should become the shareholders of the company who is purchasing the business. So that is the second condition, that more than 90% of shareholders of the selling company should become the shareholders of purchasing company. Now third important point, consideration for the equity shareholders of the transferor company who agrees to become the shareholders of transferee company is discharged wholly through payment by way of issue of equity shares or other securities or a combination of both. Only the fraction of the share could be paid by way of cash. Now while the purchasing company, that is the transferee company, is purchasing the company, in that case when it is when it is paying consideration, now while you are purchasing something you pay something to the owner and purchase. So similarly when a transferee company is purchasing the company of transferor company, in that case the consideration has to be paid in equity shares only. That is, you have to issue shares in your company to the selling company. Now let's say A Limited is acquiring the business of B Limited. So A Limited has to issue equity shares to the shareholders of B Limited, and only if there is fraction share that can be paid in cash. Otherwise you have to issue equity shares only. The consideration cannot be paid in cash or in any other form. It has to be paid in equity shares, and only for fractions share, suppose if it is in half share or 1/4 share, then you have to pay cash. Otherwise you have to issue equity shares only. That is the third condition. Now fourth important condition: business of the transferor company, that is selling company, is intended to be carried out after amalgamation by the transferee company. So this point says that transferor and transferee company, that is buying and selling company, both should have same line of business. Now let's say if B company is selling its business to A Limited, so in this case both the companies should have same business. That is, A Limited should continue the business of B Limited. Let's assume that B Limited is into automobile business, so same business has to be carried down by A Limited. A Limited cannot start selling ACs, coolers or electronic items. So fourth condition says that both the businesses should be same, or the business of transferor company has to be carried on by transferee company. Basically they are trying to say that they have to be in same line of business. That is the fourth condition. Now last condition: no adjustment is intended to be made in the book value of assets and liabilities of the transferor company when they are included in the financial statement of the transferee company, except to ensure uniformity in accounting policies. Now the fifth condition is trying to say that the book value of assets and liabilities that you are taking over, the book value should be taken. That is, for example, if P Limited is selling off its business to S Limited, okay, P Limited is selling, S Limited is purchasing. So when S Limited is purchasing the business of P Limited, in that case all the assets and liabilities should be shown at the same value as it appears in the books of P Limited. For example, if the value of land and building in P Limited is 10 lakhs, so same 10 lakhs of buildings will appear in the books of S Limited. You need not do any revaluation of assets. Same values have to appear in the books of accounts. No revaluation of assets or liabilities has to be done, except for ensuring uniformity in accounting policies. Suppose if the companies are following different accounting policies, then if there is any discrepancy to fulfill that, if you change the values, it is fine. But otherwise you have to make sure that same book values appear in the books of transferee company, that is purchasing company. So these are the 5 very important conditions which you need to understand by heart for solving the problem. So let me just give you a summary of this once again so that you understand it in a better manner. First condition says that all the assets and liabilities of the selling company should become the assets and liability of the purchasing company. Okay, you cannot leave any asset or liability, all have to be taken. Second condition says that more than 90% of shareholders of the selling company should become the shareholders of purchasing company. That is the second condition. Third condition is that the consideration for equity shareholders should be paid in the form of equity shares, and only for fraction of share you can pay cash. That is the third condition. Fourth condition says that same business is to be carried on by the transferee company after amalgamation. And the last condition says that the book value of assets and liabilities of the selling company should be same in the books of the purchasing company, except for ensuring uniformity of accounting policies. So these are the 5 conditions which you have to remember very properly, because we are going to apply this condition to understand what is the nature of amalgamation. Okay, I request the students to please by heart these 5 points and remember it, so that it will be easy for you to understand and solve the problems in the later videos. Okay, with this I conclude for today. Thank you.